My basic view about Obama, by the way, because there's a lot of theorizing around, he's a Chicago lefty, he's got all kinds of attitudes toward the United States. All these things may or may not be true. I think you really never know what's in a president's head. I think a lot of those things could have been said about Jimmy Carter, too, in terms of his attitude toward the United States. But presidents generally find themselves attempting to do what they think the majority of American people do. It's very rare that presidents push hard against what they think the majority wants to do. And my reading of Obama from the beginning has been he's always going to look for the dead center, in a way, on foreign policy, which he doesn't really care about, I think. So on foreign policy, he's going to look for the dead center of where the American public is. And I think he tried to find that dead center in his first 2 years. And I think he decided that although he personally was going to pull out of the wars that the Americans didn't like, I think his sense was he couldn't pull out too rapidly in the case of Afghanistan. He had to prove that he was a tough guy in Afghanistan. He saw the need for the use of force in Libya, but he was also pushed into it in a way that Clinton and others had been pushed into it. And that was his read of the American public. And I think what has happened is, as he has gone through this process, I think what he sees in the American public more and more and more is that they don't want to do any of these things. Now, he's also encouraged this to some extent with the speeches that he's given, but again, the presidents don't tell Americans what they don't want to hear generally. Roosevelt didn't for 4 or 5 years. It was only when he went into a panic that he started pushing against it. So I think what has happened is that in this kind of dialogue between Obama and the people, he has discovered that he really doesn't have to do anything. He's about to give a big speech on American global leadership, and on the day before, he announces that we're going to have all troops out of Afghanistan by the time he leaves office. He doesn't see there's a contradiction in those things.